This middle part of this wood piece is taken out by chiseling. This part is taken out by chiseling. Similarly, the external part of this external part of this is taken out by chiseling. All right. Now this is by flat chiseling and this is by chisel is like this. Chisel is like this. All right. Now this part is this one. Got it? So here we use the flat part to take out the wood from the front and from behind of this process. All right. And here we use the narrow part of the chisel. This narrow part of the chisel is used to make this socket or the gap. Now this is pushed into this cavity. All right. Then it will be a right angle tenon mortise joint. Then it will be a right angle tenon mortise joint. All right. So this is called the mortise. This is called the mortise. The shape that takes from below. That takes from the below. All right. Now in case of ankle joint, we see a mortise formation. In case of ankle joint, we see a mortise formation. This is tibia. This is fibula. This is medial malleolus of tibia. This is lateral malleolus of the fibula. All right. Now the inferior surface, that is the articular in case of tibia and fibula, the inferior surface of the medial malleolus, lateral malleolus, as well as that of the shaft of the tibia is articular, which makes a tibiofibular mortise, which forms a tibiofibular mortise, means the gap which receives the talus from below, forming the ankle joint. So what is ankle joint? It is the inner articular surface of the lower end of the tibia and fibula, along with the articular surfaces in medial malleolus and lateral malleolus. That forms a mortise which receives the trochlear tali, that is the trochlear articular surface of the trochlea is the same. You know the trochlea? Trochlear articular surface of the talus from below. This is the ankle joint. Ankle joint is uniaxial and mostly it is hinge joint. Like this. Ankle joint moves like this. But the transverse axis is not exactly transverse. It is a little slightly laterally inclined. Alright. It is not exactly transverse. It is a little slightly laterally inclined. Right. So this is a modified hinge joint. Uniaxial modified hinge joint. Right. Alright. That's why we see in a newborn baby, the foot is more or less inverted. Baby foot কিরকম থাকে এরকম থাকে, ঠিক আছে? It is more or less a little inverted, এরকম থাকবে, ঠিক আছে? Because the transverse axis is a little laterally inclined, laterally and downwards inclined. All right. So this is the ankle joint. Now we see what are the bones taking part in this joint. From above, it is the tibia, inferior surface of the tibia and inner surface of the medial malleolus, together with the inferior surface of the fibula and the inner part of the lateral malleolus, that is the fibular malleolus. All right. Now, from below, we find the dorsal articular surface of the talus. It is the dorsal articular surface of talus, which is of, from before backwards, it is convex. From side to side, it is concave. So it is and the posterior part is small, then its anterior part. Anterior part is quite wide of this dorsal surface. Right. So this is the talocrural, this is called talocrural joint. Other than ankle joint, there is another name is talocrural joint. Okay? There is a deepening of the posterior part by the, and it makes a process. At the lateral part, there is a flat surface, and this talus presents also laterally a part, triangular part, that takes the lateral or the fibular malleolus. Right. Now we get so the bone is complete. All right. Now we need to know the synovial, the capsule, the synovial membrane, capsule and the synovial membrane, the ligaments. Medially there is deltoid ligament. Laterally there is anterior and posterior tibiofibular ligament. Or also talocalcaneal. Alright, anterior and posterior tibiofibular ligament. Now how to draw it? Because you don't have any idea of the talus bone. Tomra talus bone take cheno na. Alright. আমি দেখছি একটা ফুট আঁকতে পারি কিনা Please. Before you enter into the discussion of ankle joint proper, you must know where the joint is and what are the locations of muscles and tendons around it. I am most interested in this, you know, as you know me, that I am most interested in the structures, where it is and how it is disposed. All right. Now, thank you. As you see, this is the medial condyle, this is the lateral condyle of the femur, right? And here it is the gastrocnemius muscle tendon which is cut, the gastrocnemius muscle which is cut, and it is the lower part of the gastrocnemius which is also cut, right? Deep to it we see the soleus muscle. When the gastrocnemius heads are cut, deep to it we see the soleus muscle. All right, and in between the two gastrocnemius heads we find a thin muscle. This is the plantaris. This is the tendon of the plantaris, just like palmaris brevis, just like palmaris longus. What we see, the muscular part is very small, all right, and the thin tendinous part comes up to the flexor retinaculum. Comes up to the flexor retinaculum, isn't it? So this plantaris muscle, which was once active, now is receding. Embryologically, this is a receding muscle or regressing muscle. All right. So this, in between this one is the plantaris muscle and this is the plantaris tendon. So the tendocalcaneus is formed by, this is tendocalcaneus. All right. So the tendocalcaneus is formed by number 1 gastrocnemius, number 2 soleus, and in between this layer there is plantaris muscle, right? This is also called triceps suri. Right? Now this is the popliteus muscle on the back of the medial malleolus of tibia, right? This is the popliteus muscle. Now, here you will see peroneus longus and brevis tendons are coming out, and here you will see the flexor digitorum. Okay, take the call. And tibialis posterior, two tendons are here, tibialis posterior and the flexor digitorum longus. Two muscles are here and peroneus longus and brevis on the other side of the tendocalcaneus. Right? Now, before discussing anything in leg, we must know the disposition of the muscles, where it is. If we do a cross section at the mid of the thigh, then we will find this is the tibia. It has the anterior border, posterior border and the medial border. Alright, this is fibula, this is also has anterior border, posterior border and the medial border. Right. And this is the interosseous border. Interosseous border communicates with each other with the interosseous membrane. And this is the tibialis posterior. This is tibialis posterior, this is tibialis anterior. Now imagine from the medial border, from the anterior border of the tibia, the deep fossa of the leg is encircling like a sleeve, and again coming back to this at the level of the tibia posterior border, right? The anterior border of the tibia theke ei je green colored je fascia ta, this green colored fascia is the deep fossa of the leg. This is the deep fossa of the leg. Another one, this is the transverse fossa. This is the deep transverse fossa of the leg that is separating the gastrocnemius and the soleus. This is the deep one, that is the soleus, this is the gastrocnemius. In between this, there is the deep transverse fossa of leg. Alright. Now you see the compartments that is anterior to the interosseous membrane. This one is the anterior compartment. This is the tibialis anterior. And then we find the peroneus longus, peroneus brevis. Now, this is the flexor hallucis longus, flexor deltoideum longus and peroneus tarsus. Flexor hallucis longus, flexor deltoideum longus and the peroneus tarsus. And this one is the peroneus longus and peroneus brevis. Alright. In between this is the common peroneal nerve. This one is the common peroneal nerve, right? And this one is the tibialis posterior. You see, this is the soleus, these two are the heads of the gastrocnemius and this one is the plantaris. And this is great saphenous vein, this is small saphenous vein and this is sural nerve. Draw the picture and complete the leveling. At first, draw the picture and complete the leveling. Otherwise, it will be unnecessary to talk about the relations or anything of the ankle joint. Alright. There is the synovial membrane. Synovial membrane in case of ankle joint is thin anteriorly and posteriorly and thick laterally and medially. That is blending with the medial and lateral collateral ligament. So synovial membrane is thin in case of ankle joint. It is condensed and thick at the medial and lateral boundary. That is the medial and lateral collateral ligament. Right. Now the capsule is attached just distal to the margin of the articular surface of the tibia and fibula in case of upper part, and similarly around the margin of the, close to the margin of the talus, dorsal surface of the talus, which is articular in case of ankle joint. Hello. Capsular ligament where it is attached and the synovial membrane where it is attached. Right. Now you go for the ligamentous attachment. Until and unless you know the structure of the NHO, until and unless you know the anatomy of the talus as a bone, similarly anatomy of the calcaneus as a bone, you will not be able to remember or memorize the ligamentous attachment. The deltoid ligament and the spring ligament often comes in the examination as a short note, right? Deltoid ligament and the spring ligament, that is talocalcaneo-navicular ligament. Now you are unable, at this point, you are unable to locate which one is the navicular, which one is the medial cuneiform, intermediate cuneiform and lateral cuneiform, which one is the navicular, which one is the cuboid. এখন মনে করতে পারবে না. All right, we need to see the, first you need to see the, okay, I will draw another picture, don't worry. Let me tell you talus first. All right, this one is the talus. All right, all of you touch this surface and you will find anterior to posterior this surface is convex, and from side to side in a transverse axis you will find that this is concave. So we shall revise it next day. All right, draw the picture and label it.